All right, hello, welcome, good evening, traders. It is a new month. It's now February 2025. It's Monday, the 3rd of February. Crazy day in the markets today. Some of you trading probably staring up all night at your futures with everything looking down with the tariffs taking into account. And those with a plan probably slept like babies last night because if you have a plan and you're ready for it, then really none of this stuff is crazy. And if you thought the last 24 hours was crazy, you've got 4 years of craziness coming here, folks, for the stock market. You just got to have a plan, trade that plan. I can't be any more strenuous about the fact that you've got to understand the environment that you're in. You've got to understand how to have a plan. You just can't follow a bunch of people, grab some stuff off of YouTube, throw some trades on, and expect everything's going to be all right out there because you're going to have some crazy ups and downs. And man, did we see some crazy ups and downs today. So big thing was, futures are down a ton overnight. Futures are down 120 plus odd points on the S&P. Everybody thought, oh, the world is coming to an end. You got tariffs going in against Canada and Mexico. Boy, that's really going to hurt us. 10% tariffs against China. Nobody really cares. Okay, it really doesn't make a whole lot of difference if you have a plan, but 10%, 20%, 25% tariffs on Canada. Okay. We barely bring in any goods from there. So it's not really going to hurt a lot of things. Oh, sure, some auto parts and some oil and things like that. And oil spiked up on some of that news. Mexico, what are we getting from Mexico? Okay, not a whole lot. They need us more than we need them out there. So anyway, Trump puts the tariffs in 25% on both companies. And then what happens? Well, by, I don't know, 10 o'clock this morning, Mexico already said, you know what? We'll put troops on the border. We're going to stop flow of immigrants in there. We're going to stop drugs from coming across the border. And Trump then says, okay, fine, no tariffs for now, for at least a month, if that indeed is the case. Okay. Took 30 minutes of the market being open before Mexico fell apart and bowed to Trump on these things. Then we got Canada. Now, Canada, Trudeau wants to go toe to toe. He's going to raise tariffs against the U.S., wants a trade, put this trade war on. He has no bargaining power. Well, by the end of the day, right at the end of the day, Canada does the exact same thing. Okay. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. Okay. All I know, all I care about is what's the market doing on this. And yeah, never want to see the market going down, but actually, my accounts were up most of the day today. So we're only down a little bit on it. And really, the only thing that got me a little bit was I have a lot of SPY leaps. Okay. Well, with the market being down about 45 bucks today on the S&P or about 0.76%, my SPY leaps are down a bit. That's okay. My ES futures positions up on the day. We've got hedges. We've got volatility hedges. Volatility didn't do a whole lot of anything either today. So if we're looking at the VIX, VIX is up $2 to 1861. VIX barely moved. I think it was up to almost 19 something at one point in time. No big deal. All right. So tariffs now over and done. I think we in our Discord, we saw it coming. We called the reversal. I actually put a zero DTE put spread on about 5 to 10 minutes before Mexico folded this morning. So it only took 16 minutes to hit a winner on my zero DTE trade. We got that right. And then we also used the opportunity to sell some naked puts on Nvidia at the market lows this morning as well. So that's actually paying off pretty good already. What are we doing on that Nvidia trade? That thing's actually up 10% already. So we've already made 10% in less than a day getting in on Nvidia. It doesn't mean that that trade can't go sideways and go south. It's fine. And I'm not saying that we're right. It's just we knew what was going to happen out there. You can't get bought up into all the news, the noise, the hype, everything. Turn off the news, forget about it. Don't listen to what anyone else is saying. Trade your plan, have a plan. Our members had a plan. I have a plan. Okay, worked great today. After the bell, Palantir comes out, has good earnings, and now they're up 15% in the aftermarket. Okay, so Palantir, fine, doing great. I wish I had gotten in, but I will deal with the FOMO on that. I will stay out. I followed my plan on the way I trade, and that just wasn't part of it. So, uh, all all told, not a bad day. You would not have thought anything negative was happening in the markets whatsoever. Today, at the end of the day, yeah, the markets are down like less than a percentage. Big deal. Okay. You can't get all caught up in all the news and the noise and what everybody's telling you out there. You got to trust the process. You got to have a plan in place. We did fantastic stuff today. Let's take a look at uh, some charts. See if we can come up with some trade ideas for you out there. So let's take a look. We'll start with ES futures. Now, right now they're down, or they ended the day down about 45 points. Okay, they're actually only down 11 now after the close. So the futures have continued to move in a positive direction based upon the Canada news that they're going to comply with some of Trump's wishes, and he's going to delay the tariffs now on them. So all good here. Uh, I like the fact, I like where we are on this. I think we're moving sideways. We are still in this consolidation area on the weekly here. Big drop down today, recovered, half of this move at least today or more, probably recovered maybe two-thirds of the drop on the session overall today. A little technical damage. We're down. Okay. We triggered a bearish PSAR today on the daily. You got RSI, MACD, and stochastic momentum all heading lower. I certainly think we could be headed lower. The one thing I talked to people about today the most was if you didn't like futures last night, and I don't know why you're fretting over the futures overnight, but if you're all worried about those and you can't sleep, and you didn't like the open today, and we were only down like 2%, 3%, or something like that on the session at worst today. So it really wasn't a huge down day, being down a couple percentage points. However, if you didn't like that, you have the chance to fix it right now. Okay. Stop what you're doing. Okay. Lighten up on your positions that you're too heavy on because you're probably trading too large if you were nervous. B, do you have hedges in place? If you don't, you have a reprieve today, okay, because we're not at the lows. We could still get to those lows, okay, but if you didn't have the hedges on this bounce, put the doggone hedges on. We had volatility hedges, worked out great. We had delta hedges, worked out great. We are sized properly, worked out great. We have a lot of put debit spreads from our 112 trades, worked out great. So overall, everything today was good. Doesn't mean tomorrow it won't be, good or bad or what have you. But if you have a plan, you can feel pretty comfortable with it. And if you do have a plan, today was a really good test to see how did things hold up for me. All right, so let's get back here. So ES, we're in. I don't really see any trades that I like. So I did put on my SPY leap trade today, which we do every single Monday. So I added more SPY leaps today. I should have done it closer to the open when I put the put spread on for 0 TTE. And you know what? I just wasn't thinking. I didn't do it. I put it on a little later. It's still up on this session. It still was a good entry, but could have done a better job. But I would prefer to spend the time in the market and not trying to time the market. You just saw that maybe a reversal was coming today at those lows, and it was a good time to put on that SPY leap earlier than later or midday. But it's all good. We did that. So like I said, we did drop a NVIDIA naked put on today as well. And we actually did a stock trade as well, looking at some different charts that are out there. So what else are we looking at? So ES, I don't like anything except for the campaigns we're trading and our at the money 111 trades, Jade Lizards, those types of things. If we're looking at oil, now oil down early on the session, okay, or I'm sorry, up early on the session because, oh, well, if we're going to put tariffs on Canada and we're taking a lot of oil from Canada, prices are going to go up on oil, yada, yada, yada. Okay, was not the move. Okay, and we ended the day actually lower on oil, but you can see we ran up on the session. We ran up right to the anchored VWAP, hit it, failed at the 200-day moving average and the anchored VWAP, sold off, and then sold off some more past where we opened. We were down a little bit more, recovered. We're right at uh, the anchored VWAP that dates all the way back here to about this, early December, like the 9th, 8th, 9th, something like that. Okay, so we're right in between these two VWAPs, pinching in there. We'll see. We're holding the 50-day moving average over here on the weekly. We're breaking out of this uptrend, so we'll take that off sideways, uh, just right in between the 21 EMA and the 50 EMA. Things don't look great for oil still, but I think we're oversold. So I think some sideways action here. I want to look at some strangles on oil. So I think that's the play for tomorrow. Likely we'll be putting on some strangles. That'll be part of our daily meeting tomorrow. So we'll look at an oil strangle. Tomorrow, let's look at gold. Gold having a really nice day. It was down a bit early on, and again, it really reversed, moved its way higher. Gold still pretty strong. I like gold here. Every time it comes down to around this 21-day moving average, I think it's a buying opportunity. It's gone a little far for my liking, but that's why we have put on a gold trade that has no risk to the upside because it can go as high as it wants, and we're still in great shape. In fact, we are up 42% in 7 days on our gold trade. So that's a great piece. Bonds. So bonds, we actually closed out a trade on bonds. We had a strangle that we've been in on bonds. That thing closed out today for a nice winner. So a bond strangle winner on the session came off. I want to get some more strangles on. I think bonds are set up pretty decently here for our potential strangle opportunities. I, while I think the drift sideways to maybe higher is okay, I still think we could drift lower. I just think it's a perfect setup to strangle this thing. That's where I want to be. So I think tomorrow, probably oil and bonds would be the two strangle opportunities. If I'm looking at my account right now, I do have a strangle in oil. It's already running. It's at 28% now in 13 days. I have an at the money 111, similar to a strangle. That thing's up 150%. Yes, 150% so far in 12 days. And then we have a 112 trade that's up by 80% in 34 days. So, and then we have naked calls up 72% in 31 days. We have a lot of trades running on oil right now, but I think I want to get another one on with things that are going on here, especially if we got 30 days of no tariffs on Mexico or Canada, unless they violate something. I think this is a good opportunity for strangles to go on. All right, let's keep going. I've been talking about copper. I think copper is a good strangle opportunity. I still think that's the case. Right near the 21-day EMAs on both, right in the middle of the Bollinger Bands. I think that's a good trade. I'd be strangling copper potentially here. Silver's been moving to the upside. There's no trade here. NASDAQ, just like S&P, moved down, really tested the bottom of this trend line, or pretty doggone close to it. I don't know, where's probably not the best draw. Close to it, and close to the lower Bollinger Band today. I think the NASDAQ still looks fairly weak in here. Palantir certainly going to be pulling up uh, itself, but I don't know if it's going to raise all boats tomorrow. But we got a lot of earnings coming out. All right, and on the small caps, down big, hit the 200-day, hit the bottom of the Bollinger Band, and then uh, moved up quite a bit off of that. Some technical damage. I think you got to be paying some attention here. I still don't think small caps are a great trade, at least not yet. But I think they're getting closer to becoming a better trade opportunity. And then 6A, crazy day as Forex took it in the took us today. So you really had a pretty good down day on pretty much all currencies, but they all rebounded strongly by the end of the day. In fact, what's 6A at right now? I think the Aussie dollar is up. So it's up now on the day. So decent day, big recovery on the Aussie dollar. out there. So you can see that in a variety of areas. If we take a look at the euro, same type of a setup on the euro. British pound had a pretty decent recovery day today. So overall, not too shabby. Let's take a look at some of the stocks that we're looking at for the investing lazy trader account. I like Amazon. Amazon was just right at that break-even point most of the day today, finished slightly lower, but it's up after hours. So Amazon's got earnings coming up uh, soon. We'll keep an eye on that. I like Amazon. I really like it here. I loved the pullback wasn't quite enough today on Amazon to get in. Had we dropped more, I'd have considered it. Meta having a good day today, up strongly, up even stronger based on those Palantir earnings after Bell. So that's pretty solid as well on Palantir. Uh, so, or I'm sorry, on Meta here. If we're looking at Google, we got earnings coming up, I believe, tomorrow. Is that not correct? So earnings tomorrow after the bell looks good. Google down a bit today. I like Google. I like it here. Nvidia, we loved this move to the downside today. It allowed me to sell naked puts well out in time. I actually sold like the 70s, I believe. Let me double check. Let's see here on Nvidia. Yes, I sold the 70s for a pretty nice deal. I took in $1,200 on about $1,200 in margin. So really pretty good deal for a nearly a 1 year leap on Nvidia. I love the 70 point. I would take assignment on that. I think Nvidia still is strong. Tesla really struggling here. This thing's in a bit of trouble, in my opinion. I think these tariffs aren't great. The China tariffs, the China uh, trade war potentials that are coming up. Not good for Tesla. Certainly, some of the uh, Canada potentials, which went away with car parts and stuff, would impact Tesla a bit today. So I think Tesla, you just got to kind of watch it here. It did recover off the lows, but it's right at the bottom of the Bollinger Band. So it's not the worst place to look to get into Tesla. We do have the income poor man's covered call running on Tesla, and that thing today was just down a little bit. So not too bad because we're getting the decay on the calls that were at the money. So we sold the 400s. We dropped 20 points today. So we've made so far on that, we've made almost $700 just on the covered call, and we've lost $800 on the on the leaps on the long calls. So net, we're down 100 and 200 bucks. Okay, $200. Tesla went down $20 today. Okay, and we're down 200 bucks. Okay, most people are down $2,000 today. Okay, so Tesla dropping 20 bucks, even with one contract, you lost 2,000. Okay, I'm down 200. So we're in great shape. I love the setup that we have going, and we still have plenty of extrinsic value to pull out of that thing. We'll let it cook for a little bit longer, but I think we could make almost $1,000 on that covered call, which would be awesome. All right, so there's Tesla. I don't care about Microsoft. I don't really even like what they're doing. I don't even know what they're doing anymore. I don't really like Apple. This thing is just struggling. China tariffs could be poor. You've got Palantir here doing so well that you can't even see the after hours trading up here, well over 100 now. So this thing's running from 83 to 103, up 20 points. Craziness on Palantir. So overdone, but if you're in it, congratulations. All right, and Costco having a huge day today, as you can see here. And this thing didn't have a big dip. This thing, started down a tad and just ran the whole day and ran strong. I also like uh, where we are on Salesforce. I think Salesforce with that Palantir news, it's up, indicated up in the after hours. I think that could be a pretty good opportunity for it. SoFi had a pretty good drop today to the 50-day moving average. I think this is just a nice pullback opportunity in here. I like SoFi in here potentially, and then him's having a good update today, and then Chipotle. Okay, huge down. Now it's up. Okay, we got earnings coming out tomorrow on Chipotle. So we'll see what happens there. But a pretty good reversal day off the lows of the session. So gap down uh, or an open down and then recovered most all of that throughout the day. We've got in the small account, we've got some poor man covered calls on this. So anyway, there's a handful of trades that we've got. AMD down in the session. I've still got a poor man's covered call on that. Uh, LGS down, nothing exciting there. Maybe down there. CLDI starting to make some moves. Fubo uh, trying to make some moves. It can't really get out of its own way, but Mobileye is one we did get into today. I've been in and out of this name. I don't trade many stocks. This is not high on my list either, but as a spec trade, I threw some calls at this thing today when it was down right at the VWAP. It held that anchored VWAP here that you can see that dates back quite a ways. We're holding the anchored VWAP, finished off of it. Things are up in after hours. I think Mobileye could look fairly decent. And then MicroStrategy, pretty good recovery day, but this thing just continues to drift lower, sideways. I think it's almost time to start looking at some trades on MicroStrategy, but we got earnings coming out, and so we don't really want to touch this thing. We'll let earnings play out on Wednesday for that thing. So there's where we are on a good handful of trades. Let's take a look at the account and see how we did today, and then we'll wrap it up with you. So gave you some trade ideas today so far. And let's look at the trade tracker for the main income navigator account. Now, I didn't do an end of month wrap up, but we did finish the month up $8,200. Okay, so we made 8,200 bucks, and that was a 2.2% return, just a realized return. Now, you'll see here we took a pretty good hit this week. Okay, this was almost all hedges. Okay, so we had a bunch of hedges expire. And I'm booking the income or the expense whenever I actually close a trade, not before trades. I'm not out there on the internet saying, hey, I made $6,000 today, unless I actually closed the trade. Selling premium is not winning, folks. You only win when you close the trade that you sold. Okay, so until you buy it back, you can't really say that I made $6,000 in 30 seconds today. Okay, you're lying to people. You didn't make that. Okay, you took in some premium, but you still hold the asset. And if you're doing covered calls or poor man's covered calls, you own the underlying asset. Maybe you're down $50,000 on your long calls, but you sold premium today for 1,600 bucks. You're not up $1,600, folks. Okay, you're down $30,000 or whatever the heck you are. Okay, so I'm just telling you as I book it, realized income, not unrealized. All right, so I did close out my hedges, a pretty good chunk of change here, but I also did book some hedges up in here. You can see, so there's, some coming in, some coming out, and if you look at my overall, my net loss on hedges was about $5,800. These include volatility hedges. Most of this is all volatility hedges as some of the longs expired. Okay. But when we look at it, we made $6,700 on our 112 trades. Okay. Which is, my 112 trades, I'm looking to make at least around 5,300, before wins or losses. And I made 6,700. So great job on 112 trades for the month. My SPY leaps up 1,260 bucks. I'm shooting for 5,000. We didn't hit that because we just didn't have a lot closed yet. Future Strangles, we made 2,200 bucks last month. Other 2 trades, we booked about another 385. I made over $1,000 on 0 DTE, and I didn't trade it very much. We made 1950 on our 120-day naked puts. A whole 42 cents on our income poor man's covered calls, but we just started those at the end of the month. $500 on spec trades, and then your hedges, $8,200 overall. Now, our net lick has grown almost at the end of the month, our net lick was up 24, almost $25,000. We were up 6.77% for the year on Friday. We had a little bit come off today as our net lick dropped. Now we did book another 1,300 in realized income today. So net for the year, okay, our portfolio is up $20,000, which is 5.67%. The market's only up 2.25%. So we are not quite at a triple, but we're more than a double of what the market is doing so far. We're up 5.67% on our portfolio value, and we've already realized 2.6% in gains. So not too bad in 30 days. 2.6% realized, 5.7% in growth of the portfolio today. So I like where we are. I'm pretty excited with the way we've got this thing structured, what we're running into this year, with the craziness that we're all seeing out there. Got to have the plan. I am just sticking to my plan. Okay. Putting trades on where I think they make the most sense. Okay. And trying to help everybody really get that plan, get organized, be able to sleep better at night and trade away. So we're excited for this year. I think we got some things dialed in. We've got a lot of things running for us. Trade your plan, plan your trade. Stay safe, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.